The war to define his legacy is on. And they try to smear him every day on the left in the New York Times and MSNBC and beyond. And his friends, his true friends, have all been out there fighting back against it. But I don't know, Jack, I've told others this, I think I've told you this. When you stood up at Charlie's funeral with the rosary beads in your hand, like that, it was like a Malcolm X almost like pose with the rosary beads, I felt better. And when I talked to you and Benny Johnson backstage that day of Charlie's memorial, you guys said something that actually made me feel comforted for the first time. And this may sound kind of weird because everyone knows I'm not a shrinking violet and I'm not afraid of a fight, but I felt so much better because we were having a debate right then about whether we should reach out to the left, we needed to reach across the aisle and like extend the hand, or whether it was a time to fight because they were literally murdering us now. And you guys said, and you were pissed, you guys were angry at the loss of Charlie, and you guys said, you know, no offense, but it's time to let the men handle things right now. And I loved it. I loved it. It wasn't actually about men, it was about fighters. It was about, this is a time for fighting.
Look, you come to situations and you hope that you can solve things with words, and Charlie tried to do that. You hope you can solve things with debate, and that's what our great country is all about. But when someone decides to stop using the ballot box, and then what did we see in this country? They went to the jury box with President Trump and the lawfare and hundreds of thousands, really, of patriots. And then when that still didn't work and they continued to lose power, they switched to the bullet box. And you had this guy climb up on a roof and take a shot and kill Charlie Kirk. And when I see something like that happen, I say, look, and CNN asked me about this, and they're probably not going to invite me back on anytime soon. That's okay.
You're good.
And yeah, I'll be all right. I'm not going to lose sleep. And I said, look, I'm more than happy to unite with anyone who wants to have a conversation. But if you support that, like the thousands of people that we saw laughing about it and cheering about it, then I am not interested in uniting with you. I am only interested in defeating you.
Right? I have felt since that day, not accidentally, that there's like, I don't know, there's an evil in the air. Like do you guys, have you felt it at all? Like there's sort of a pall that's been cast over us since then, as I think we're actively fighting demons that are struggling for the souls of our fellow Americans and that are getting some of them. That's why you have that woman doing the, right? Like that woman, I really feel like a demon is involved there.
A teacher.
Right, who's got little children in her classroom all day. Right. Talk about those rosary beads. Like, how do we protect ourselves?
Well,
how do we fight that?
You mentioned the rosary beads, so I had to get them here
that.
tonight and bring them. And Megyn, because you said something so nice on your show the other day about them, I figured, why not bring an extra set that I could give to you?
Oh my God, thank you. Oh,
That's
they're
for
so
you.
beautiful. Thank you. Oh, they're so beautiful. They
look
just
right
feel
there,
empowering.
This has, right in the center there, that has Saint Michael the Archangel right there.
Defend us in battle.
And for folks who know the Saint Michael prayer, it's Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, through the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who wander about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. And that's it.
Thank you. This means so much to me.
Of course.
Thank you. You joined Turning Point. What year was it? 2021?
It was, yeah, so I was doing events back to 2018, but I didn't formally join until 2021. And that's when we started the show Human Events Daily, and Charlie and Tyler came and said, hey, we want to do this this idea, we want to expand into media and do news, and we want you to be that guy. And I said, I'd be honored to do it. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to watch, but I'm happy to do it, and let's keep going. And then Charlie had his show, and I had my show, and it just grew and grew.
So one of the things you've clearly figured out in your time with Turning Point, with Charlie, out on the road with Turning Point, is maybe what's going on with young men in America. And you actually had a really interesting piece this week talking about that, and also talking about the trans furry thing that we keep seeing, right? We saw it. We know that Charlie's accused assassin was dating a man who is both a trans and an alleged furry, alleged because that's not a thing. Neither is trans. And now we heard the same about the Butler shooter, who himself was they, them, and into furry culture. And you're the first person I heard really talk about those two strains in a way that might actually explain why some of these men, these disaffected young white men, are falling prey to that insanity, which then leads to violence.
Yeah, so, and this is, like you're close to these stories and you try to analyze it objectively, and it's tough, but at the same time you have to look at the facts and follow the facts where they lead, and we know on the face of it that this furry culture and more of this transgender culture comes up in both cases. And what's interesting is it's also, I think, an aspect of transhumanism. And transhumanism is, of course, this idea that we can transcend our human bodies. And Yuval Harari talks about this, and he goes over to the World Economic Forum a lot. And what it means is that they sell this idea that you can become something which you are not. And that's really what it comes down to, and it's a break with reality. And a break with reality, if you go to the classic textbook definition psychologically, is psychosis. That is the definition of what a psychotic break with reality is, a rejection of reality. A man cannot become a woman cannot become a man. It's physically impossible. A human being cannot,
Yes.
This is true. And I know to say that in California is a revolutionary act,
Yes.
I suppose. Gavin, I'm here, by the way. I promised I'd come by. and to attempt to turn yourself into an animal is also impossible. And yet there's this kind of toxic situation where young men, particularly young white men, have been so completely dispossessed in our society, totally disenfranchised. You see this with Tyler Robinson, his trans boyfriend, Lance Twiggs, these downwardly mobile young white males who are castigated by society, are told that everything that is wrong with society is their fault. They see program after program set up for every other race and ethnicity and gender other than them. And they start to disconnect from reality. They see the economic situation not being good for Gen Z and for young people, so they disconnect with reality. And you look at what do all of them have in common? Think about this. And I mentioned this in the piece for Human Events. Luigi Mangione, Thomas Matthew Crooks, and Tyler Robinson. They were all in high school during COVID. They were all in, so imagine you're in that situation. Now you can't leave your home, you're locked in, you've got your cell phone, you've got that little piece of glass right in front of you. So if you can't go into the outside world, what do? You go into the virtual world. And you're then inundated, and Charlie spoke about this, you're inundated with pornography, and the pornography becomes more and more extreme. We know that Tyler Robinson was looking at pornography which involved furries and drawings which involved
Very sick stuff.
Young animals, human animal creatures, almost like a form of child pornography. And at some point, you start to blend your vision of what's reality and what is false reality. And because of the cognitive dissonance of not being able to actually achieve that in reality, it expresses itself in violence.
My friend just lost her ring. She went to replace it. She realized it was a gold ring. The price of it has gone up like 25% since she bought the ring a year ago. That's because gold is on the march upward. And it is the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold, I say, with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th, so don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.